Barusan masuk. Mas Arif Hidayatullah juga barusan masuk.
Barusan masuk, mohon maaf, barusan masuk kelas gitu ya Pak. Sudah.
Maksud saya sebelumnya pernah bergabung.
Iya, iya Bapak.
Oke. Saya kok namanya agak belum begitu hafal memang.
Oh iya iya.
Ya. Baik, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
I'm so sorry for the previous meeting. I was absent because of my illness. I was hospitalized in UMM hospital because of my sickness. I suffer from the heart attack, yeah. But Alhamdulillah, everything is already fine today. I'm getting better and better. Well, as we have already planned before, today we have a presentation from you, and I do not know what topic it is. Maybe grammar or vocabulary, it's up to you. And then we can have a makeup class maybe before Idul Fitri, maybe once time. It's all right. I am waiting for you your convenient schedule. So before Idul Fitri, I think I have to leave Malang for my hometown at 19, maybe at 19. So before 19, you may arrange the schedule and report to me for the makeup class. If you want to have the makeup class, if you try to have the regular class, meaning that we can have a makeup class after Lebaran, it is also all right. I think the most important thing is that we have to make up the class, whether it can be done in the before Lebaran or after Lebaran. If it is before Lebaran, I hope you can hold the makeup class before 19. If you have the makeup class after Lebaran, it must be after the 2nd of May. Yeah. So this is my what is here announcements to you related to the makeup class. All right, today, please now the presenter prepare everything for your presentation. The time is yours now.
All right, thank you, Bapak. Today, we are from the first group and we will present about the grammar test. The member of the group 1 is Halimatus Sadia, Syarif Hidayatullah, Nur Aini, and also me. And the first part
Excuse me.
Yeah,
the time for you is only around 30 minutes or maybe not more than 30 minutes. So the rest of the time will be used for the discussion because we have only 60 minutes. After 60 minutes, I have to go to the meeting in UMM. So we have to manage our time quite well. Okay, the time is yours now.
Okay, Bapak. So the first matter will be delivered by Mbak Halimatus.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, the first one is the concept of grammar test. Langsung aja ya, tembak. Okay, the grammar of language according to Harmon 2001, page. The grammar of language is description of the ways in which words can change their form and can be combined into sentences in that language. So in general, the concept of grammar test is the aims of grammar test in general is to evaluate everyone, to evaluate how well the student use the language overall, as well the various elements from grammar itself and also the rules. Next slide is about the type of grammar test. There are some type of grammar test. The first one, I think all of us has been familiar about fill in the blank, yeah. So I don't need to explain more, inshallah. And the second one is a multiple choice. Why multiple choice is highlighted in this green? Because our group is has already discussed about the multiple that we have to focus on the multiple choice only. Okay. The third one, this is very new for me actually, sentence diagramming. What is sentence diagramming? Ada yang pernah tahu sentence diagramming? Everyone? Maybe Mas Dino, Mas.
Not yet.
Okay, as far as I understand, sentence diagramming is like one kind of the type of test, grammar test, but it is focused on. Sorry, I give you an example. For example, we ask our student to make such kind of graphic representation for the part of speech in sentences. Jadi, for example, nih, we ask our student to draw lines and write the word from the sentence. Jadi kayak gini teman-teman. Sorry, I use bahasa. Sentence diagramming, for example. Dalam satu kalimat, misalnya ada objektif, ada subject, ada predikat, ada conjunction, ada preposition misalnya. So the aims of sentence diagramming is like what is the function of subject, what is the function of the objective, what is the function of verb, what is the function of conjunction, what is the function of preposition. Nah, seperti itu sentence diagramming. Bisa dipahami? Hello?
Masih bingung, Mbak.
Masih bingung.
Excuse me.
Okay. Maaf, Pak.
Excuse me. If you have an example of every item you are discussing, I think you have to do the slide showing. So if you are trying to explain in Zoom, for example, about the example, it's better for you to put it in the slide, and then you do the slide showing. If you are only explaining in Word, for example, I think your friend will be difficult to follow your understanding, your explanation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, please complete your explanation with the example. If you think that the explanation need to be to be extended with the example. Oke.
Ya, belum bisa dipahami ya teman-teman ya, sorry ya. Ada yang pernah belajar bahasa Arab ya di sini? Oke, sentence diagramming is the same as i'rab teman-teman, kayak i'rab gitu loh. Nah, like this one. Nah, jadi anak-anak itu kita we ask our student. Nah, yang di bawah ini contoh dari sentence diagramming. Penjelasannya. Jadi sesuai dengan part of speech. Subjek itu berada di sebelah mana, verb itu setelah apa, tempatnya predikat adjektif di mana, dan lain-lain. Seperti itu. Mohon maaf ya kalau kurang clear. Oke, the next, Mbak Nis. Bisa dipahami ya, insya Allah ya. Okay, actually, this is a brief explanation ya teman-teman. So number 4 is composition based. Composition based is like a grammar test, which is to check or to measure our students' mastery of grammar test itself. For example, we ask our student to write the sentences, to write a paragraph. Also, we ask our student to write such kind of short essays, which is following the rules and also the type of grammar itself. And number 5, the last one is authentic assessment. So everyone, if we talking about the authentic assessment, I think it's related to the real life, real life context. For example, we ask our student to make a correction or make a kind of improvement for newspaper, for example, articles, and many others. Maksudnya itu dia fokus ke language in natural format, begitu ya. The next slide is about the What should be task in the in grammar? Okay, before developing the task, of course, we have to understand what should be task, because our group is focusing on the junior high school. In curriculum Merdeka is known as Fase D. Yeah, so we are focusing when we are arrange the task, we are focusing on the learning objective for class 7 in Fase D. You can see the learning objective. So what should be the task? The task is included about present, future, and past tense, and also the student able to use time markers, adverb, frequency, and also common conjunction. Next will be delivered by Mbak Aini, inshallah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Halimatus Sadia. After we know about the objective, we also decided about kind of test, and we had the achievement test here. An achievement test is a test or develop skill or knowledge. The most common type of achievement test is a standardized test developed to measure skills and knowledge learned in a given grade level, usually through planned instruction, such as training or classroom instruction. So just like we have already heard before, we will create a test on the seventh grade of junior high school, and this is the kind of achievement test. Okay, the next. Types of achievement test. Here there are 3 types of achievement test. To achieve their objectives, achievement tests are diversified and multiplied to provide a comprehensive assessment of the learner, teacher, the curriculum, the teaching method, and even the education environment. Okay, the first is according to the time scale. According to the time scale, we can use daily, just like that. It's according to the time. Daily, weekly, monthly, annually. Seperti yang biasanya kita tahu di sekolah ya. In the school, we have midterm test, we have final test, just like that. And then achievement test according to the objectives. According to the objectives here, there is a predictive test. So to anticipate the level of performance that the examinee will achieve the learning or subject or performing a particular skill. And then there's also diagnostic test and speed test, and also performance test, and the last is competency test. And the third type of achievement test belong to the type of the test here. There are, just like we have already known, there is a written test, oral test, and then practical test or performance test. Okay, next we will go on to Mbak Ninis.
Okay, the next is the item writing guidelines, means like the thing that you have to consider before you construct the questions or the grammar test. The first is the mapping objective. As mentioned by Halimatus Sadia in the beginning, we have to decide first what is the objective of the grammar testing, because as we know, if we are talking about the grammar, it could be we will test about the part of speech, or maybe the subject verb agreement, or maybe the noun clause or anything. So there are many kinds of the grammar. The first thing that you have to decide what is or what will be tested. And the second is clear and concise. Clear and concise means while you are constructing the one question, it should be clear. You will make a question about the if you want to make a question about the part of speech, okay, just enough to make the part of speech. You don't need to add like, I think the question, it's good to add, make a question for noun clause, for example. Nggak begitu. So you have to only use grammar on one question while we are constructing the grammar question for the test. And the third is the understanding the examinee. In this part, the test maker should be understand what is the level of the examinee, maybe like because it is for the junior high school, so the teachers should understand the level of student understanding. Maybe okay, the student know the basic of the present tense, maybe, or maybe, oh, I think my student is already know and I already teach about the present tense in the intermediate level. So you the test maker should make the question according to the students' understanding. And then the second is anticipating scoring, means like the answer, the question is not biased for the scoring. So the scoring is clear. Jadi kalau bikin soal sudah jelas begitu ya, tidak scoringnya sudah ada rubriknya, dan the teacher or the test maker itu bisa refers to the scoring rubric. And the last is understanding the materials. It is very important for the tastemaker to understand the materials first, and the limitation in every materials. As I mentioned, if the students on the basic level, maybe the grammar test can be the subject and verb agreement, but in the basic level, so it can help the student get the real score based on their knowledge. And then the next is multiple choice item guideline. As mentioned by the first presenters, the first speaker, we are going to focus on the multiple choice test because we use the most apa sih namanya, kita menggunakan tes yang paling banyak digunakan oleh teacher in the junior high school. That's the multiple choice. And while we are constructing the multiple choice, we have to consider the several parts. The first is the stem. Okay, I will show you later which one is the stem, which one is the option, and answer and descriptor. The stem atau problem or the questions. And the second part is the option. So if you know about the multiple choice, you have a 4 A, B, C, D, that's the option or the solution to solve the problem. And then the best answer is the key answer of one packet of the question. And the last is the distractor. Distractor means something that make the students consider which one is better and which one is correct. Okay, I will show in this slide. Okay, this one. This is the question for the present tense. If you can see, the nurses care of the patients in the hospital. This is the problem. And then there are A, B, C, D as the options. Okay, A, B, C, and D are option. B, C, and D is the distractor. And the best answer or the key answer is A, the tick. Okay. Okay, then the next is one, format guideline for multiple choice. So when we are constructing the multiple choice, we have to consider the 6 things, but I believe outside of my references, there are many considerations, but I just take the 6 items. The first is use the proper grammar, punctuation, and also the spelling. Because we want to test the grammar, so the question, it should be in the grammar correct. And also the punctuation, it should be correct. And the spelling, because sometimes if the punctuation is in proper place, it can affect on the sentence meaning. And also for the spelling, if the spelling is incorrect, sometimes it can affect to the meaning in a whole sentence. And the second is the item and the option should be clear and unambiguous. Means, yes, as we know that we want to make an option A, B, C, and D, it should be clear and possible. If it is possible, the tastemaker should make the things that kalau di sekolah berarti teacher should make the option based on the things that already teach by student in the classroom. And the third is the content should be independent of the item to the item. Means, as I mentioned, one question should be clear. It is for testing the part of speech. It is for testing about the subject-verb agreement or etc. So it should be clear. The fourth is avoid the use of abbreviation. Sometimes it is refers to the academic ethic to write the abbreviation. So for example, if you want to write down in the age of someone, instead of you are writing the 35 Y.O, so you better writing in the 35 years old. So you have to avoid the abbreviation, because sometimes one abbreviation can give many meanings. So it can affect to the examinee. The fifth is the sentence should not begin with the phrase. Okay, again, because we want to test the grammar, and we have to provide the sentence instead of the phrase. The last is use no more than 4 options. Because if, for example, if you want to provide the 5 options, the dict structure, it should be more strong, jadi harus lebih kuat gitu. Because if the option, or sorry, the distraction is weak, itu lemah, it will appear the ambiguous. Jadi itu akan, it will be biased. Itu akan menjadi bias gitu. Jadi the one or in simply the question is not valid gitu. And then the next will be delivered by Mbak Aini.
Okay, we talk about how to distract, just like this one. There are many kind of multiple choices item. This is one of the example. Number 1, just like this, the sentence, and then we have to find out the right verbs. So we give some option. The first is using the bare verb, and then we can use past tense, and then we can use past participle, just like that. And the option C, you can see it's felt. There is no felt in English, right? But it's only for distraction. It doesn't mean we didn't know the right past participle, but this is only for distracting. Okay, the next. Type 2 here, we use the option to horizontally, not vertically. Just like usual, we use option A, B, and C, but the format here not using the vertical, but horizontally. And then number 3, we also use vertical one, but we put it under the first option. In Indonesia, we used to we usually use the type 1, but actually there is a kind of multiple choices like this. And then next, type 4, here still the same, but we just we give the option just like this: A, not change. It means the answer is right. So there is an option like this. We can have not change and then give other verb for base here, tell, and then having told, be telling. And then yeah, this is the most difficult one because the student needs to be focused on each sentences. Also for the letter, look at the sentence from A, B, C, and D. You have to find out the difference. What's the difference between A, B, C, and D? Oh, I see. The student have to decide whether they have to choose the first one, the first option, the second, or the third, based on their analytical or thinking or critical think that they have. So they have to think what's wrong with this sentence, what is the best part. So they have to think about the matter that they have already learned before. And then next will be delivered by Mas Syarif Hidayatullah.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, next we are going to talk about the scoring technique in grammar testing. Okay, in this case, scoring technique in grammar test is a process utilizing a number to represent responses made by the test taker. There are two types of scoring technique. The first is based on the first based on the test taker response, and the second one is scoring technique based on the methodology. Okay, let me explain. Based on the test taker response, based on the test taker response, this type of scoring technique evaluates the test taker response directly. It usually involves assigning point or marks to each correct answer and deducting points for incorrect and incomplete answers. The total score is calculated by summing up the point earned for all the correct answer. For the next, based on the methodology, this type of scoring technique focuses on evaluating the test taker's language skills based on the methodology or approach they use to arrive at their answer rather than just the correctness of their awareness. For example, if the test taker demonstrates a good understanding of grammar rules, vocabulary usage, and sentence structure in their response, they may receive a higher score even if they made a few mistakes. Okay, basically, both test taker response or based on methodology have their own pro and plus and minus. Okay, now there are two things about based on the test taker response: dichotomous and continuous. Dichotomous scoring. In this technique, the test taker response is categorized as either correct or incorrect with a binary distinctions. The score assigned is usually either 0 or null or 1, where 0 represents an incorrect response and 1 represents a correct response. Dichotomous scoring is commonly used in a multiple choice questions, true or false questions, or other similar format where the response is limited to a fixed set of options. Okay, next, this is a continuous scoring. In this scoring technique, the test taker's response is evaluated on continuum or scales, assigning a numerical score that represents the gradations or degree of correctness. The score may range from 0 to a maximum value, such as 100, or any other predetermined scales. Continuous scoring is often used in assessment of writing and speaking skills, where the test taker's response may vary in complexity, accuracy, and language proficiency. Okay, and then we'll talk about the two common types of methodology. Yang sebelumnya, yang holistic sama analytic. There are two common types of scoring technique, holistic and analytical scoring. The scoring technique, the stage one is evaluated as a whole considering the overall effectiveness or response. Holistic scoring is evaluated in skill or upper language coherence and for the analytical, the test taker response is evaluated the specific component or feature such as grammar accuracy, vocabulary usage, sentence structure, etc. Analytical scoring allows for a focused evaluation of different aspects of performance, if often used in assessment where diagnostic information or detailed feedback on a specific area of improvement is shared, such as educational measurement or placement decision. Okay, next we are going about the example of assessment test, because in this discussion we are focusing on the 7th grade of junior high school.
Just explain in brief, Mas Syarif.
Okay. Here are the example. The learning objectives in this discussion. Students are able to express ideas in the present, the past tense, and the future. In this case, the questions that we are going to use in the present and the past and the future tense. Next. For the seconds, this is the example. As we spoke before, we're focusing on the present, past tense, and future tense. In this one, we are focusing on past tense. Okay, next. And then this is the kind example of questions when the teacher are going to focus on a future tense. Okay, this is the kind of an example. Okay, next. And then for the time markers, pardons. In this case, students are able to use the time markers at verb of frequency and common conjunctions to link the idea. And this is focusing on time markers. And the second is adverb of frequency, and then the common conjunction. This is the kind of example of the questions that focusing of common conjunction to link in ideas. Okay. Okay, that's from our discussions. In the next will be a section for discussion. Thank you very much.
Okay, Bapak, can we open the Q&A session or?
Bapak, you are still muted, Bapak.
Still muted, Bapak.
Okay, sorry ya. I have several notes for your presentation, but in overall, your presentation is already covering the concept of grammar test. Only one aspect that should not be discussed in this presentation, that is about the type of the test. I think the type of the test, achievement test, for example, should not be extended for the discussion in this presentation, because when we are discussing about the type test, it is the type of the test in general. What we are going to discuss here is only focusing on the type of grammar test. Don't forget about this. When you discuss about listening comprehension or reading, for example, what are the type of reading tests? What are the type of the listening test, and so on. So our discussion about the type of the test, as I presented last week, that is about achievement test, diagnostic test, and so on. They are only for the classification of the test in general. So no need for you to specify in particular aspect of grammar test, for example. So I hope there is no discussion about achievement test in grammar. However, I am very happy with the presentation of Mas Sarip Hidayatullah about the example of the teaching objective in grade 7 or 9 or 8.
7, Bapak.
Grade 7 junior high school. I think it is a very good example of the teaching objective, and you try to give an example of the item, grammar test item for every objective, whether it is for present tense, future tense, and so on, along with the time markers. I think this is just the example of the multiple choice format for grammar test. And then the discussion actually should not only on the example of the multiple choice test. I think it is better for you to give more example, for example, of some other type of grammar test. Let me have the slideshow for your enrichment of your discussion today. Okay. Okay. This is my additional PowerPoint, and I have already sent this PowerPoint to your group of language testing. All right. For the first time, I think you are running on the right track. Yeah. For the first time, you try to discuss about the concept of grammar test. I agree with you, and you are following the track in our course outline. You have to discuss what is grammar test. This is very important starting point to discuss. Understanding the concept of grammar test is a very, very good way to go further for the discussion of the grammar test. Okay, I have already what is here put the concept of grammar test and the reason or the background why grammar is still important to be tested. For example, some books suggest us that grammar should not be tested. Some other book or some other expert also stated on the other way around. It should be tested. So I think we have to understand about this, that the grammatical structure is still seen as part of language ability. Because it is part of the language ability, that is the reason that the grammar is still to be tested. Then grammar should be tested directly to see the language proficiency. It is one aspect of language proficiency. In other words, when you want to know someone language proficiency, English language proficiency, of course, you should not put away of the grammar test. Grammar test still should be included as the material of testing. And then most proficiency tests are administered still retain the grammar section. Based on this reason, the conclusion is that grammar test is still required. It means we are still permitted to do the grammar test in our school. For example, with the teaching objective as Mas Sarip Hidayatullah presented just now. That is the reason why grammar test is needed. Then the most important thing is this. That is the concept. I have to add more concept of your presentation. It is just the extension or maybe or another view of the grammar test concept. What is tested in grammar? After knowing this concept, of course, we can understand what is grammar test. Okay. According to Heaton, the grammar test measures student ability to recognize appropriate grammatical form and to manipulate structure. What is meant by manipulate structure is to create structure, to compose a sentence, for example. So the grammar test, what is tested in grammar is basically about the construction of word, phrase, clause, and sentence. That is the idea. Don't forget about this. Whatever the definition is, we have to come to a certain agreement, to a particular agreement, that grammar test actually is testing our testee, testing our student about the construction of word, phrase, clause, and sentence. Jadi apapun definisinya, yang namanya tes grammar itu adalah tes yang dirancang untuk mengetahui kemampuan siswa bagaimana menyusun kata, menyusun frase, menyusun clause, dan menyusun sentence. This is the idea, the basic idea of the grammar test. So, for example, you focus on the sentence. I think it is the final outcome of the grammar test. Long before sentence, you can test the student how to form the word, for example. It is almost similar to vocabulary testing, but in some cases it is different. And then you also try to go to a little higher concept. You are not testing word, but you are testing phrase, a group of words, for example. For example, like this, for example, yeah. Okay, Rahmantika, a flower garden. Sorry. Please try to say, what is flower garden, Rahmantika?
A flower garden is
a flower garden is what?
Is a phrase?
Yeah, I know it. It is a phrase. I want to say that what is flower garden?
What is flower garden?
Anyone knows? What is flower garden?
A garden that full of flower.
A garden.
A flower.
That full of flowers.
A garden where flower
grows. Flowers are growing. Oh, grow.
Okay. All right. So you can say garden, flower garden. What about garden flower?
A garden flower is a type of flower.
A flower that grows in
a flower that
in the garden.
In the garden.
In the
garden.
For example, like this, okay? A garden flower is a flower that grows in a garden, not in the mountain. Flower garden is a garden where flowers grows. Okay, this is the this is the praise, and then we ask student in order to give the meaning of a praise. This is also a praise, and then we ask the student in order to tell the meaning of the praise. It is also part of the grammar test. So, in addition to testing word construction, kalau word construction misalkan form, and then what is the formal, for example, what is the atau normal misalkan, what is the noun of the norm or of the normal? Nah, Anda membentuk kata itu. Ini yang frase. Kemudian klausa. Anda tahu klausa misalkan a group of words containing subject and verb, and it cannot stand alone. Nah, jadi kemampuan siswa mulai membentuk kata, membentuk frase, dan membentuk clause, membentuk sentence, ini adalah wilayah. This is the domain, this is the areas where we have to create the grammar test. So, don't try to focus only that grammar test is testing a sentence form. No, but you can come to a little lower or smaller unit of the language. It might be clause, it might be phrase, or it might be word. Up to now, I think your conception about what is tested in grammar is only focusing on sentence only. You never think that the grammar test is only involving the construction of clause, phrase, and word. So, after knowing this concept, later on, when you are developing test of grammar, you can go to this domain, for example. You can also test the student praise only specific to testing the student ability how to make a praise. That is also okay. That is also permitted because theoretically, as far as the theory is concerned, praise is also the areas of grammar test. Once again, I have to revise your understanding, or maybe it is not to revise, to extend your understanding that the grammar test is a test of construction of word, phrase, clause, and sentence. From the small to the bigger and to the complex, the most complex aspect of the language, that is about sentence. So do not focus only on testing sentence only, but long before sentence, you have a very small unit to be tested as the elements of grammar test. This is one additional information for you. And then I think it is not necessary to discuss about this because we have already discussed about how to meet the validity, especially the content validity. Kalau nanti mengembangkan ini harus dipenuhi content validity proporsinya. Saya kira kemarin sudah bicarakan, nggak usah yang ini. Then the next aspect that is most important is this. This is very important. After knowing the concept of the test of grammar and what is or what are tested in grammar, then you have to understand how to test grammar. If we are discussing about the question how to test grammar, it means we have to focus on the way how to test grammar. Nah, that is the way how to test for a grammar is related to the item format itself. The answer of how to test grammar and with the discussion of the item format. Jadi pertanyaan bagaimana kita mengeteskan grammar setelah tahu komponen-komponen yang diteskan yang meliputi pembentukan kata, clause, frase, clause, kemudian sentence, kita bertanya tentang bagaimana kemudian kita mengeteskan itu, gitu loh. Ya, ini pertanyaan itu bisa dijawab dengan item format. The way how to test the grammar test can be answered with or by providing the item format for the grammar. For example, there are multiple choice item format, ada bentuk multiple choice, tadi yang dicontohkan Mas Sarip tadi, error recognition item. Nah, Anda sudah tahu, nanti melihat bukunya item, yang seperti ini loh contohnya, error recognition itu. Nah, yang misalkan begini nih. Nah, Oke. Mohon maaf ini agak kurang renggang. Jadi. Nah, Anda pernah tahu bentuk tes yang begini nih?
Iya, Bapak.
Kenapa?
Ya, she is going to Surabaya at past today. Kira-kira yang salah yang mana?
Yang C.
Yang C. Nah, seperti itu. So, we ask the student in order to identify the possible error that make the sentence ungrammatical. Disuruh memilih mana di antara kata, frase, atau bagian kalimat ini yang membuat kalimat tersebut tidak grammatical. Nah, saya kira sudah semuanya paham itu. Ini error recognition item, salah satu bentuk error recognition. Kemudian completion item, melengkapi. Gap filling, biasanya itu melengkapi ke completion item. Rearrangement item, transformation item, misalkan yang kalau rearrangement menyusun misalkan begini. Nah, okay. Please construct a word, meaningful word, based on the given letters. Silahkan siapa yang bisa. Please construct a word, a new word, a meaningful word, based on the given letters. C, E, L, P, A. Coba menyusun kata.
Lip, Bapak. L-I-A-P.
Apa?
L-I-A-P, lip.
L-I-A-P. T-nya mana? Kok dikorupsi?
Oh ya, please, Pak.
Nah, yang betul adalah place. Nah, ya kan? Nah, oke. Please confirm. Nah. Please construct as many as 50 words. Please construct as many as 50 words from the word crocodile. Silahkan membentuk kata sebanyak mungkin, kurang lebih 50 kata, dengan menggunakan huruf yang ada pada kata crocodile. Oh, misalkan.
Door.
Code, sir.
Door.
Code.
Oh. Die. Banyak sekali. Oke. Ini adalah tes pembentukan kata yang word tadi itu. Kemudian place, kemudian yang lain-lain. Semuanya bisa diteskan lewat multiple choice, error recognition, completion item, rearrangement. Nah, ini yang rearrangement contohnya seperti itu. Nah, kemudian transformation item. Nah, kalau transformation item itu, oke, misalkan begini ini. Nah, sorry. Andy is eating an apple. Okay. Please change the word. Sorry, please change the sentence into a passive sentence. Nah, transformation item, mentransformasikan. Siswa disuruh mengubah, mentransformasikan dari bentuk tertentu ke bentuk yang lain. Misalkan aktif ke pasif, kemudian membentuk kata singular menjadi plural, dan seterusnya. Ini contohnya, transformation item. Word changing, broken sentence item. Namanya broken sentence item itu. Ada misalkan Andi. Sorry. Nah, broken sentence, kalimatnya masih rusak, masih amburadul maksudnya. Siswa disuruh untuk membentuk kalimat agar kalimat itu bentuknya, polanya betul. Nah, misalkan menjadi Andi is eating an apple. Nah, seperti itu, diacak-acak itu kalimatnya. Broken sentence. Pairing and matching, nah, menjodohkan atau menyocokkan itu combination item. Nah, ini semua, saudara sekalian, this is the item format, how to test grammar. Maka yang Anda diskusikan tadi seharusnya penuh dengan contoh-contoh dari ini semua. Tidak hanya untuk khusus yang multiple choice. Itu loh maksud saya, Anda mendiskusikan itu sehingga teman kita di kelas ini punya gambaran. Oh, tes grammar itu mengeteskan tentang itu toh. Kemudian cara mengeteskannya dengan cara itu. Lah, Anda hunting dari satu teori ke teori yang lain. Kalau misalkan Brown menginstruksikan, mengenasihati kita untuk menggunakan berbagai macam contoh format semacam ini, bagaimana dengan Hidden? Nah, teman 4 mestinya bisa keroyokan begitu untuk saling beradu ide. Oke, tes grammar menurut Hidden itu ada sekian. Contohnya ini. Sementara ahli lain ada yang mirip dengan ini. Maksud saya begitu. Jadi nanti ketika ada yang tertarik untuk mengembangkan grammar, keluar dari tes ini sudah punya wawasan. Saya nanti akan mengeteskan phrase dengan cara rearrangement item. Saya nanti akan mengeteskan word formation dengan rearrangement item. Sudah terpunya konsep di sini. Saya nanti akan mengeteskan sentence dengan bentuk broken sentence. Itu loh maksud saya. Jadi silahkan dipahami dulu, what is meant by grammar test? Apa saja yang diteskan? Komponennya apa saja? Saya tambahkan, the components of grammar test at least 4 aspects. That is the construction of a word, word, phrase, clause, and sentence. That is the areas. How to test? You may use several format. Banyak format yang dipakai. Oleh karena itu, silakan nanti mengkaji bukunya Hidden atau bukunya siapa, sehingga Anda tahu contoh-contoh dari semuanya ini, kalau Anda akan tiru untuk mengembangkan nanti, gitu loh maksud saya, Anda punya modal untuk ditiru atau diadaptasi, dan maksud saya begini, diadopsi dan diadaptasi. Konsep itu berbeda. Mengadopsi bentuk word changing-nya Hidden, misalkan, kemudian saya ubah-ubah begini. Nah, ini yang saya harap. Nanti yang saya nilai banyak ada di sini nih. Mengadaptasi bentuk tertentu, mengadopsi bentuk tertentu, kemudian diadaptasi dengan berbagai macam perubahan. Nah, pairing and matching. Kita angkat, kita ambil, kita ikuti itu. Kemudian Anda kembangkan dengan bentuk yang lain. Itu yang menjadi roh mata kuliah kita itu seperti itu. So, once again, please try to find some item format. You may try to follow and you may make a kind of modification. Ini yang penting. Jadi sekali lagi jangan hanya terfokus pada multiple choice item. Jangan. There are many ways how to test the grammar aspect. Oke. Ini tambahan dari saya. Kemudian, nah ini contoh-contohnya. Ini with format adjustment, as a grammar, it is important for the text of the item to be written grammatically correct and natural language. Apapun bentuknya nanti bahasa itu diucapkan yang natural. Saya kira semacam ini. Kemudian yang ini tambahan dari saya sekalian, untuk mengecek pemahaman Anda terhadap presentasi hari ini, Sampai semua saya suruh untuk membentuk ini. Based on the group one presentation today, you are asked to make at least 5 up to 7 questions and to answer your question. You are making your own question and answer your question. Buatlah pertanyaan berdasarkan presentasi atau makalah. Saya tidak tahu apakah Anda diberi makalah atau tidak dari grup ini. Idealnya diberi. Nah, dari makalah atau dari presentasi itu, Anda saya suruh untuk membuat 5-7 pertanyaan dan jawab sendiri pertanyaan Anda. Nah, nanti dikumpulkan itu 19 April 2023. Nah, selama kurang lebih 5 hari, nanti Anda menyusun 5 pertanyaan sampai 7 tentang grammar test. Kalau nanti tidak ada paper, ya Anda silakan browsing buku, mengkaji tentang aspek grammar test, kemudian membuat pertanyaan. Inilah yang kita namakan dengan apa istilahnya, loud thinking ya. Istilahnya dalam teori pembelajaran thinking aloud ya, thinking aloud. Anda berpikir dan kemudian menjawab, bertanya kemudian menjawab pertanyaan itu sendiri. Oke. Contohnya ini. Oke. Maaf. Contohnya tadi belum saya share ya. Oke, contohnya dilihat sendiri. Contohnya comprehension question itu pada grup, pada WA group sudah saya kirimkan. Anda membuat itu contoh pertanyaan, ya. Silakan contoh pertanyaan. Oke. Oke. Contoh pertanyaan ada pada grup Anda. Baik, another comment for this one. Oh, sorry. Anda bisa ya ini ya. Oke. Okay, that is the concept of grammar test, and then type of grammar test tidak usah penting. Kemudian scoring teknik. Saya kira betul yang didiskusikan tadi oleh grup ini, scoring teknik. There are many ways of scoring. After knowing the concept of grammar test, knowing the way how to test, then you have to understand also the way to score. The concept of scoring is already correct. Konsep penskoran tadi sudah betul konsep yang diberikan. Jadi scoring itu adalah menghitung jumlah jawaban yang benar. Namanya scoring. Itu. Tadi sudah betul konsep yang dipaparkan itu. Ada 2 macam, scoring continuous, kemudian ada yang dengan metodologi analytical dan holistik. Untuk yang grammar test itu, kalau bentuknya berupa teks, bolehlah pakai holistik sama analytical. Tapi kalau yang discrete seperti seperti multiple choice tadi itu, tidak penting, tidak perlu, dan tidak bisa kita meng-skornya lewat holistik. Jadi, we have to understand holistic scoring and analytical scoring. It is only applicable whenever testing grammar in the form of paragraph, in the form of text. Jadi, ada paragraf atau teks begitu, kita berupaya untuk mengevaluasi kemampuan grammarnya. Boleh diterapkan holistik atau analytical. What is meant by holistic? Basically, we are scoring the student work by reading thoroughly, dengan membaca seluruhnya. Nah, dibaca keseluruhan. Nah, itu. Kemudian dinilai. Holistik kadang-kadang disebut impressive. Holistic scoring or impressive scoring. It means we are impressed after reading the whole text, the whole paragraph, and then we keep scoring. Jadi saya menyuruh Mas Bangkit misalnya atau kelas ini suruh menulis satu paragraf gitu. Untuk saya nilai miliknya Mas Arif Hidayatullah misalkan, saya baca keseluruhan paragraf itu. Setelah itu saya nilai, oh ternyata berdasarkan kesan saya, impresi saya, grammarnya lemah. Itu saja. Holistic scoring. Trying to score the student work by reading thoroughly of the work. Nah, without any criteria, without any rubric. On the other way around, if we are applying analytical scoring, we try to analyze aspek by aspek. Apakah tensesnya betul? Apakah verb and subject agreement-nya betul? Nah, ini namanya kita analytical scoring. It means scoring the grammar based on every aspect of the grammar. So we are scoring based on certain rubric. Whenever it is grammar test, of course, we are only relying on the grammar rubric. Grammarnya itu, rubriknya grammar itu meliputi apa saja. Misalkan verb agreement, plurality and singularity. Kemudian time markernya harus betul dan seterusnya. Ini dianalisis. Nah, keduanya, baik holistik maupun analytical, ini hanya bisa diterapkan ketika kita mengevaluasi grammar seseorang lewat tulisan minimum dalam bentuk teks, paragraf, atau essay. Mungkin. Tidak mungkin Anda multiple choice kemudian menerapkan analytical atau holistic scoring, tidak mungkin. Yang memungkinkan adalah tadi itu dichotomous atau mungkin continuous tadi itu. Baru memungkinkan. So once again, you have to understand two ways of scoring between dichotomous and also holistic and analytical. You have to understand where you have to put and you apply the method of scoring. Kapan dan di mana kita harus menerapkan cara men-score itu. Masing-masing punya peruntukan sendiri-sendiri. Bisa dipahami Mas Arif Hidayatullah ya? Halo?
Pak, iya Pak.
Ya, seperti itu. Jadi yang Anda paparkan betul, cuma tambahan saya, tidak sembarang tes bisa dikoreksi dengan dichotomous maupun dikoreksi dengan analytical and holistic scoring. Kita punya peruntukannya. Nanti ketika Anda membicarakan writing test akan tahu itu holistic and analytical scoring. Holistic sometimes it is called impressive, ya. Impressive scoring or holistic scoring sama itu. Analytical scoring dan seterusnya. Kadang-kadang dimanai begini. Analytical scoring is scoring dan based on certain rubrik tadi itu. Kalau holistic scoring itu membaca kalimat secara keseluruhan. Apakah kalimat itu mempunyai makna ganda atau tidak? Tadi juga boleh dimaknai semacam itu. Tetapi holistik dan analytical biasanya untuk untuk teknik penskoran pada writing. Oke, itu tambahan dari saya untuk kelas ini. Sekali lagi, yang paling penting buat kita adalah satu, memahami dari aspek ini tadi. This one, we have to understand about what are to be tested, apa yang harus diteskan, ini areanya, bagaimana mengeteskan, ini bentuknya. Ini dua hal ini yang paling penting. Kemudian bagaimana men-skornya, Mas Arif tadi sudah bisa menjelaskan dengan jelas lewat grup ini. Oke, saya begitu ada pertanyaan? Please.
Bapak, I have question.
Yes, sure.
So related to Mbak Aini's explanation last time about the structure, as we know that the structure is incorrect answers, but I noticed that one of the option for the multiple choice, it is misspell or wrong spelling, like felt. So is it allowed for us to have this kind of?
It is not
so
allowed.
That means,
So
okay.
the principle is that tadi yang saya katakan tadi, mohon maaf ini. Nah ini, whatever format are chosen for testing grammar, apapun formatnya, multiple choice atau apa, it is important for the text of the item to be written in grammatically correct and natural language. Ini kita perhatikan. Apapun bentuk tesnya, maka setiap komponen, apakah itu stem, apakah itu choices itu dibedakan menjadi dua, correct answer, key, or distractor, the wrong answers, nah itu harus betul-betul dalam bentuk yang gramatikal, tidak boleh memasukkan aspek lain, misalkan spelling untuk mengecoh siswa. Nah, jadi seperti ini prinsip dasarnya juga. Nah, jadi kita tidak boleh menambahi permasalahan kecuali masalah yang diteskan, yaitu grammar. Nah, itu jawabannya. Jadi misalkan Anda kata ini, misalkan ya, Paul misalkan. Kemudian B. Kemudian C. Nah, ini ada boleh. Tidak boleh. Misalkan ada pilihan, last night the comet fall from the sky. Nah, apakah fall atau fell atau apa? Tapi yang jelas jangan membebani pilihan ini. Ini kan tidak mengeteskan grammar, tapi mengeteskan apa itu spelling. Pada spelling itu bukan wilayahnya aspek grammar. Aspek grammar khusus pada ini tadi. Nah, pada ini. How to form word, how to form phrase, how to form clause and sentence. Beda dengan ini tadi, saya mengeteskan Mas Dino tadi itu. Apa? Saya punya 5 huruf. Silahkan membentuk kata yang bermakna berdasarkan huruf ini. Boleh. Ini bukan misspelling, tapi huruf yang diberikan adalah huruf. Beda. This is not misspelling, but it is letters. You are given letters, and then you are asked in order to construct a word, meaningful word, based on the given letters. Seperti itu tadi. Tapi untuk pilihan, Anda tidak boleh bisa memasukkan aspek spelling ke sana. Itu Mbak Rodia.
Yes, Bapak, one more.
Yeah.
Okay, for the number of the options. So is it based on, because I heard that, for example, when we have multiple choice, it depends on the level of the grade. Jadi kalau misalnya,
yes, sure.
Okay, so tadi kan like Mbak Nini said, itu berarti yang I don't really remember, intinya bukan berdasarkan levelnya, cuman lebih baik tidak lebih dari 4 kalau tidak salah. Kalau untuk level university berarti kita bisa, seperti yang saya dengar, bisa atau seharusnya lebih dari 4-5 for example. So it depends on the level. Apakah begitu Bapak?
There is no rule. There is no particular rule. But commonly, multiple choice test has a kind of has a number of the choices around 4 up to 5. Yeah. Membuat tes multiple choice itu pilihannya berkisar yang ideal itu antara 4 sampai dengan 5. peringatan buat kita semua. Menyusun tes multiple choice, constructing multiple choice test is very, very difficult. If we have to construct one choice, for example, of course, we have to spend a lot of time. So it is better for you to follow the ideal number of the ideal number of choices, that is around 4 up to 5. I think 4 option is much better. Boleh itu, tidak ada aturan. Tapi yang jelas ya, yang nggak umum itu jangan hanya 2. Kalau 2 kan mesti benar salah jadinya itu. Atau 3, ya paling tidak antara 4 dan 5. Tidak ada peraturan baku memang, tidak ada peraturan baku. Kalau pilihannya banyak nanti menjadi malah cocok cenderung kepada matching. Untuk yang multiple choice secara internasional, I think the number of choices goes around 4 up to 5 options. Well, let me tell you another thing that is very important. Not only knowing the number, but also you have to understand the quality of the distractor. When you make a kind of multiple choice test, you have to think a lot about the distractor. By the definition, as far as the definition is concerned, distractor is the wrong answers. The wrong answer, but you have to think that distractor is not only being wrong, but it must be attractive. Your distractor must be, ini aturannya. Dalam teori tes, distractor itu peraturannya harus ini, prinsipnya. Oke. It must be plausible. What is meant by plausible? Mungkin tidak tahu Anda ya, apa yang dimaksud dengan plausible itu? Ini. All the distractor should be plausible in order to be functional. Jadi distractor itu harus berfungsi. Yang namanya berfungsi itu apa? Kelihatan plausible. Plausible itu apa? Kelihatan benar, tapi salah. Nah, itu ya. Look right, but wrong. Ini yang sulit. Nanti coba. Kalau Anda mau menulis tes grammar yang multiple choice, saya kurang begitu menyarankan. Karena apa? Pertama, sudah konvensional. Tidak ada kebaruan. I do not recommend you in order to develop a test in the form of multiple choice. Meskipun itu boleh, tapi nilai novelty-nya nanti rendah. Saya tidak menyarankan. Lebih baik mengembangkan yang lain. Oke lah. Kalaupun toh harus multiple choice, you have to consider the characteristic of the choices. Choices can be divided into 2. One is key. Then the principle of making the key is it must be only one key, one answer, no double correct answer. The correct answer is only one, no more. Tidak boleh lebih dari 1. Kemudian pilihan berikutnya kita namakan distractor. Distractor itu pilihan yang salah. Prinsipnya, kalau kunci tadi prinsipnya jumlahnya harus 1, kalau distractor prinsipnya it must be functional. In order to be functional, it must be plausible. Untuk biar fungsional, bisa mengecoh, gitu loh maksudnya. Maka karakter dari distractor itu harus plausible. Apa artinya plausible? Itu kelihatan betul, tetapi salah. Kelihatan betul oleh siapa? Kira-kira oleh orang yang pintar atau yang kurang pintar?
Yang pintar.
Yang pintar, Pak.
Distractor itu kelihatan betul oleh siapa? Oleh orang yang pintar atau yang nggak pintar?
Yang belum bisa, Pak.
Oh ya salah. Kelihatan benar oleh siapa? Orang yang nggak ngerti.
Ya, nggak ngerti.
Orang yang nggak paham melihat distractor, oh ya ini benar ini. Nah, itu kalau distractor itu memenuhi karakter itu bagus. Distractor itu kalau bisa mengecoh orang yang tidak siap, bahasa halusnya dalam dunia tes itu orang yang tidak siap. Bahasa kasarnya anak yang mohon maaf yang bodoh begitu, bahasa kasar itu, maka distractor itu bagus, bisa bahasa Jawanya bisa jelomprongkan bisa mengecoh, nah itu bisa mengecoh orang yang tidak hebat. Nah, orang yang tidak hebat bisa terkecoh, itu hebat, bagus distractor itu. Nah, kalau distractor itu bisa mengecoh orang yang pintar, tidak bagus. Distractor yang bagus itu bisa mengecoh orang yang tidak hebat. Nah, kelihatan benar tapi salah. Nah, kalau nanti jumlahnya banyak, Mbak Rodia, you have, for example, you make a multiple choice test with 6 choices, for example. Of course, it is very hard for you. Menawarkan, membentuk, menyusun distractornya akan susah. Wong membuat satu saja yang kelihatan benar tetapi salah itu sulit, apalagi membuat 5 atau 6. Kalau Anda punya 5 pilihan, berarti 4 di antaranya harus merupakan distractor. Itu sulit. How to make some distractor looks right but wrong, it is very hard. Agak sulit. Nah, maka kalau ditanya jumlahnya tadi, kisarannya antara 4 pilihan sampai dengan 5. Itu saya kira suatu pilihan yang ideal. Oke, jadi ini silakan nanti dikaji betul teori-teori itu. Ada lagi pertanyaan mungkin? Ya. Satu lagi aja mungkin? Ada? Kalau tidak ada, saya kira cukup sekian saja dulu. Saya akan ke pertemuan untuk bisa bergabung. Silakan, saya tunggu nanti dalam kelompok. I'm waiting your assignment in order to understand. It is individual assignment. Ini adalah individual assignment. Kecuali presenter, mohon maaf. Kecuali presenter tidak wajib mengirimkan tugas yang pertanyaan tadi. Yang presenter itu excluded. Yang tidak presenter wajib. Jadi kalau yang bukan presenter ini sifatnya mandatory, wajib. Untuk yang presenter exclude from the assignment, ya. Masih. Saya kira itu. Silahkan screen share Mas Daniar untuk dilaporkan sebagai bukti. Ya.
Semuanya 3, 2, 1.
Ya. Terima kasih. Okay, I think that is all for today. Well,